So this brings in an element of plasticity to the environment. Everything that you saw here inside this environment were built by collaborators on Play2Train, Open Content Alliance that I met and that I've never often seen face to face. I've interacted with them in this virtual environment. I said, hey, I need a hospital bed here, and go and make one for me. And I'm going to pay you $15 an hour and make something good. And they would just go and build something for me and bring it. I can't do it on my own. As I said, if you have an artistic bent, you can also do it. But one thing you can't get away with is time. I don't have much time to actually develop the content. So I do little things, when I can. But we actually had a whole group of people that within Second Life itself talk to them, network with them, and get them to build things for us. For the Health Rehab Hospital, which is another project, we are having people from very far away countries building for us. And it's quite interesting that 90% of the content that you see here has been created from scratch. Okay, we also buy stuff like the uniforms, for example, were made by Amy Weber, and she was also working for us. We are quite fond of using her for making our uniforms, because she does a really good job on virtual clothes. So this is what I meant in the beginning. The whole workflow, the whole production workflow happens within the virtual environment itself. That's why, for me, Second Life is much more than a virtual world, in the sense that virtual worlds were understood to be in the past. If you look at any game out there that's running in all these glitzy 3D high definition stuff, most of those stuff are just preloaded things. Okay, you don't have players going in and changing things within the environment itself. Of course, you have things like level editors and things like that that you can use to create your own levels of the game and stuff like that. But Doom was doing like 1997, 1995, and I experimented with those too. But it's way different. Everything happens, the whole building, texturing, all the design, even the scripting things, the programs that you need to use to inject interactivity into your virtual objects, everything happens inside the virtual environment. Okay, the thing that I find with Second Life right now is that we're actually driving our avatars around and moving and interacting and building things or coding things. So we still are a little bit disjoint from our avatar in that sense because of the user interface issue. But the next step would be where we would actually live through our avatars, in the sense that we won't feel that we're actually driving the avatars. And a number of things need to happen at the user interface level. But that's something that, that's my pet peeve thing. I can talk about this for a long time and what's happening in that area. But for right now, just understand that the whole production workflow, including the building, design, implementation, refinement, tailoring, readaptation of anything that happens and that you need for your course, happens within Second Life, can potentially happen within Second Life. And you can also network between the creators of this 3D environment and the subject matter experts, all within the same environment. So that's a long answer, but I think I covered a lot of ground here. And I probably ran out of time too. It's already 5 here. So if it's possible at all, and you've got some time left, please watch those videos. They might actually give a lot more insight into the exercises. And the ones I recommended first to see is the sit and hold video, and the second is maybe if you have time to go home and try to watch the slideshow on the site. I will also try to embed the link to the presentation on TCC 2008 that was given recently. It's just an Illuminate recording, and you should be able to watch that too. I'm not sure whether it's publicly viewable yet, but I'll try to do that. Because it contains some elements of evaluations, which I think would be of interest to most people. But just keep in mind that Second Life has a high learning curve, I mean, for most people. But once you get over it, I mean, you would find better champions. Dr. Anne Hewitt, for example, we had lots of people working with us from non-computing, non-gaming backgrounds, and they turn out to be, the staunchest champions once they start, using it and understanding how it can be used. That's just saying, of course, I mean, the environment is going to improve and the user interface, but just be prepared to go through those learning pains first, and you won't be sorry. All right, is there any more questions?
That answers the... If you have time, we can show you the building tools in Second Life.
Okay.
Briefly, and we can also show the videos that he's talking about.
Okay, I think I've seen the video, but
I
I wasn't sure.
We'll play it here. If you have time to...
Computer.
Really?
It's just 5 minutes.
Yeah, we'll show it here if you have time to sit.
We get going.
Yeah. You guys have any other questions that you'd like to ask him?
I was just want to know how much of a 3D Max and other 3D modeling and animation packages he used to add to Second Life, or Second Life gives you like 75% of what you need, and the other stuff is just optional.
Ramesh, we're wondering how much in what you've built have you used the Second Life tools, and what percentage have you used external tools, other programs that you've used to create your content?
Okay, 99.5% is Second Life.
Okay, that's fine.
Well, for the virtual heart thing, we actually used 3D Max.
Yeah, that's
we could actually have built the virtual heart within Second Life, but it would have taken a lot more prints than what we are already using. So we actually created in Studio 3D and used an export plugin available for creating the sculpted textures that we imported in Second Life. But most of the things is built within Second Life. And don't underestimate the amount of artistic skills that needs to go into it. That's the other lesson you're going to learn.
So
of course, you need Photoshop for doing the texturing.
Yes.
But now with the Winlight rendering engine, you don't need so much time spending baking textures with shadows and artificial lighting on the shadows itself, because the rendering engine takes care of that. So things are getting simpler, but it's going to take time.
Yeah, and the interface keeps evolving. It was just a couple weeks ago when you pop into Second Life, the lighting is completely different, much more realistic, and it just continues to evolve and become easier to use.
One of the reasons I've chosen Second Life as a platform, it's because I know there's a big community of users that's not going to go away. It's a company of people that, developers, open source clients, and a lot of contributions come from the community. It's always evolving. I had the opportunity to compare Second Life with other platforms like There, Fortera, and Active Worlds. So for me, Second Life at this point in time is much better and far ahead. That's why you find that. And the other thing is that there's a huge community in Second Life that's really very, very savvy, and I learned a lot from interacting with people in Second Life. So I suggest that even if you don't have an account right now, go get one and interact with education folks. I mean, that's the easiest way to start. Don't come from this perspective. I have this big course that I want to develop in Second Life. I've never put my foot in Second Life, but I'm going to implement it and ask my instructional technologists to do it for me. Please don't do that. Just go in, try to live with the community and try to experiment yourself and get familiar with the tools, and your contribution would be far more effective, and the results that would emerge would be extremely valuable to all of us. So that's maybe my closing comments.
I have to agree with you there because it's different than, a lot of times I describe Second Life as 3D web, but it's so much more than that because of all the interaction and collaboration that goes on between members. You could be collaborating with someone from across the world, and well, that's harder to do, harder to make those connections on the web. In Second Life, you make them instantly.
That's right.
Does anyone else have any questions for Ramesh? Well, Ramesh, thank you so much for giving us this tour.
Thanks. As I said, I couldn't actually bring you in the hospital, but because of some issues I had with hospital management, but you can actually see the hospital in the machinima on the web page too. So if you're inclined, you might actually show that one too.
We understand.
All right.
We're glad that you were able to walk. This is a private island. It's not usually open to the public. If you sign up, you won't be able to actually walk around.
Public. We actually just provide access for tours and things like that, but it's not public.
Which makes sense because you're doing training there.
That's the issue we had with the federal grants thing. We had to make sure that we provide some means of proving to them that we can actually manage access, and it's not a totally open environment. So we thought of just showing how we can actually keep our islands private. The second way to do this is to actually install the open grid server side of the software. You can actually install the software on your own servers and have the virtual environment wholly within your firewalls. So that's another route that a lot of people is taking. But I found that in my case that I prefer to keep it on the grid for reason number one. I mean, the staff that actually works on Second Life is me. And from this institute, and I don't have enough staff to maintain the server side of things. It's just like Illuminate. We have regular meetings and Illuminate and talks and stuff like that. I won't spend. We don't have any staff to take care of the server side of Illuminate. So we went for a hosted solution, just because we don't have staff. And when things change and get upgraded, and with Second Life, you have an update every week. I didn't see myself, getting into that business of. I wouldn't have so much time. So there are a number of issues that you need to look into before you choose what options you would go for. I always go for hosted services because it's always more likely that you will end up using the latest version of the software without having begging other people for you to upgrade. The server side of things.
And you can focus on your content too.
Exactly. And if you're in a management position, you have really very, very little time to dive and start, working at the low-level tech debugging. First, you won't be effective. You're going to take a lot of time. You're going to do that. The amount of effort is going to hit you from all sides, and you won't be very effective.
Makes sense.
All right, so I guess that's it for me for today.
Yes, thank you very much for your tour. We do really appreciate it, and we videotape this so we'll be able to show it to our members who were unable to make it. So I thank you very much for allowing us access to your island.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.